Hello and welcome back to twitch.tv/Hive Esports Games for week 4 of the Hive Esports Teamfight Tactics series. It's the same commentary team that you've seen for the past 3 weeks, although with a bit of a twist. You'll see a new member of the team wearing a headset. This is our new glamorous assistant B. They'll be helping us throughout the next 7 weeks of competition, and they will actually be a prize, of course, for the eventual Hive Esports Teamfight Tactics champion at the end of week 10. But George, we have a few events to be going on with this little guy. If you'd like to explain further for what awaits our champion at the end of the series.
Well, if you win the Hive TFT Esports tournament, you will be the owner of this coveted, not trademarked bee, okay? Very gorgeous, very cutesy, and very, I don't know, just who doesn't want this?
Whimsical.
Whimsical.
The
Word of the week, whimsical.
Whimsical, of course.
Spam that word.
Can we get some whimsicals in the chat, please, before game number one?
Give us some whimsy.
Absolutely. So, with the whimsy now in the air, I'm feeling good for week 4 of this series. We had a very interesting week number 3, of course, and now
we did.
The series leaders, Nut Silver and Jai, separated by just 1 point at the top of the standings. And that's going to be crucial because we have got some new points rules coming in to this week's event that will stand for this week. And of course, we've got some further changes as well, just to mix things up for the rest of the competition, if you'd like to delve into them, George.
Yes, well, obviously last week we introduced new points or new ways to get points for our players. So this week we're expanding on that a little bit. This week we'll be implementing a few new ways to get points. If you obtain a prismatic trait, for example, you'll gain 2 points. If you gain a 3-star 4 cost, 1 point. A 3-star 5 cost, 3 points. And you will gain 1 additional point if the 3-star 4 cost is Karma, Akali, Jarvan, or Volibear. And you will also gain an additional point if your prismatic trait is Crystal Rose. So we will be adding more ways to gain points in the future just for that little bit of whimsy. And the different traits and units will change weekly.
Absolutely. So with that established, of course, week 3, as we mentioned, Nut Silver and Jai are now just a point apart. Nut Silver sweeping the week. She struggled a bit in weeks 1 and 2, not with any sort of performance, but just getting over that hurdle. Patat and Jai, of course, trading wins in the first 2 weeks. Then week 3 comes in with a clean sweep and finds herself at the top of the standings. Do you think, George, now that we are going back to regular TFT like we saw last week, game 1 last week, of course, was Set Revival, do you think we might see more of the same in terms of who's at the top? Of course, we do have a debutant as well that we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, Jai is unable to be here this week, so he won't be able to defend his title. So, you know, a perfect opportunity for Nut Silver especially and everyone else to, push past him while he is, out for a while. But yeah, unfortunately, last week we were unable to play Set Revival, which is really unfortunate because one of my favorite sets personally, but we weren't channeling our whimsy that week, unfortunately.
We weren't. So, of course, we have got, as we briefly mentioned, a debutant mini legend is joining us, I believe, this week as well for his first round of action. Of course, he's going to be a bit behind in the points starting in week 4. But do we know much about Mini Legend, his skills in TFT, or is he a bit of an unknown at the moment, like we've seen with a couple of players?
I do think he is a bit of an unknown, doesn't know much about TFT, but we will be getting to see a little bit more in this game that we are about to bring up now.
And here we are in the carousel phase 1-1. Everyone getting started, of course. Be interesting to see how these players build their compositions now as we've got those new rules, different, bonus points for using different compositions, some lesser used units. We see the sort of Soul Fighter comps, Kog'Maw being a popular 3-star unit pick, so we'll have to wait and see whether these players will stick to what they know in pursuit of victory or whether they'll get a bit experimental, try and get those bonus points, and it may even come off for them if they manage to get a strong composition. But just some PvE to start off as everyone levels up to level 2 now, getting their additional units, their additional econ. If I'm thinking about the bonus point rules that we've got now, George, am I
Yeah.
looking maybe to change my composition, maybe get those bonus points, or if you're one of these players, do you maybe be sticking with what you know?
Well, whilst the bonus points aren't huge, they're still nothing to scoff at. Again, you can rack up like 3, 4, 5, 6 points within a single game on top of the points you already earn, which could potentially double or even triple what you already have. So again, nothing to scoff at, but yeah, I definitely think people should be considering, you know, the units that are going to be offering those bonus points.
Definitely, we see Mini Legend making their debut, and I think these points will still definitely reward those who probably have the experience in the game to be versatile and be strong outside of using what's in the current meta, of course. But those bonus points, of course, can be critical. We mentioned before we got into this game that Newt Silver and Jai, of course, Jai unable to be here, but they're separated by just 1 point after 3 weeks competition. Now we've got some silver augment choices for our players as we enter phase 2-1. 40 seconds on the clock before we get our first round of PvP combat. We're looking at Patat here. What immediately are you seeing? What do you think? I think it's a Mighty Mech composition, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that is a Mighty Mech indeed. I think, again, if I'm not mistaken, Patat has gone this comp most rounds in this tournament so far. I remember last week she played Smolder in a Bastion Smolder comp, I believe. But yeah, again, Mighty Mech, Executioner with Mentor, a very popular comp in this tournament at the moment. While yes, a good comp, there are some better comps, but hopefully we don't see 50 Soul Fighters in one game again.
Yeah, we'd like to see a bit more variety, a bit more versatility, but now here comes the first round of PvT. It's Patat versus Steph. Steph looking to really bounce forward a bit after 3 fairly rough weeks that has unfortunately left him loitering around the middle of the leaderboard, not really able to break through, not yet got a podium so far. A double top 4 in week 4, or week 2 I should say. His highlight so far, but it'll be Patat getting the win over Steph in this first round. Extra Thick, Coco Slayer, Mila Legend and Patat getting the wins. Newt Silver, Retro, Steph and Pasta Lover losing that first round, and it's already back to the drawing board. I think a bit too early to tell exactly who looks the strongest, but I think Patat is someone to watch as they've gone with Mighty Mech a lot, and immediately first win has to be good for them. You have to say they seem strong.
Yeah, I want to know what like other people are going at the moment. Yeah, as we can see here, we got Newt Silver going Battle Academia. Katarina, a very popular character as well, Executioner with that Nash's Tooth there, giving the mana on the critical strikes. So very strong at the moment. But yeah, hopefully, as we see Steph here again, he can redeem himself from last week and maybe hit a few more top 4s.
We're definitely good to get another top 4, maybe sneak onto the podium for Steph as we see him take on Newt Silver. Now, of course, both of them losing their first round, so one of them won't maintain their loss streak, and it looks like it's going to be Newt Silver who's going to get the win. It's a 3v1, and that is Newt Silver getting it done versus Steph there. Steph now on 2 losses in a row. Of course, that'll help his economy a little bit, but Newt Silver up to 4th on the leaderboard. Extra Thick taking his first loss of the series so far. Retro, Steph and Pasta Lover both on their 2nd losses. So I think we're already starting to see which players I think are preferring a loss streak versus a win streak here. Only one player, or 2 players I should say, with a win and a loss.
Yeah. Retro we can see here as well with Prodigy. Another one of my favorite comps here, Prodigy. Like, I'm a very big mana comp enjoyer in TFT, so, you know, Prodigy is one of my favorites. So I can't wait to see a bit more from here. But yeah, Extra Thick on a loss streak at the moment, which is unusual, as he usually prefers to get those win streaks. So maybe a change of tactics, as that wasn't working for him. Unfortunately, Retro here, only 1 frontline, so not strong enough to get that stacking amount of hard damage.
Looked fairly convincing in the end for Coco Slayer. Still had 5 units left upon taking down Retro, so you have to say Coco Slayer Patat probably the strongest at the moment from what we've seen, but already back into the carousel. No one stepping out just yet. It'll be Retro and Pasta Lover stepping out first as they begin to collect their units. Steph following after. What do you think these guys are potentially going to be looking for? We're going to see many conflicts over the same units.
Well, so far, I haven't seen any conflicting or I can't think of the word. Or just conflicting comps at the moment. What is the word that I'm thinking of? Contested comps. I haven't seen
Aha!
any contested comps at the moment, which is really good. But yeah, as we saw a second ago, Retro with that needlessly large rod, again for that Malzahar, that AP damage, building that Rabadon's death cap there. Excuse me. Yeah.
Back to the drawing board for our players here. They'll be entering some PvE in just under 10 seconds, trying to get themselves some additional units to flesh out their comps. Of course, hard to tell at this point in the game exactly what they're going to be going for. And back into combat we go. It's going to be Pastelova versus Retro for our next viewing here. Retro and Pastelova both on a 3-game loss streak, so something has to give. This won't be great for one of their econs, of course. But a win, never a bad thing, of course. This will put Pastelova with his back slightly more against the wall. Retro with a fairly convincing victory there. And that'll put Pastelova down to 4 losses in a row. With Patat on a 4-win streak, as the same for Mini Legend and Coco Slayer. Newt Silver with a loss as well for Extra Thick, who now is on a 3-loss streak. So I think the bottom 4 will probably have the best econ at the minute, minus Retro probably having just 1 and broken that loss streak. But it'll be interesting to see, with so many players not really being able to build a streak of sorts, whether that will come back to bite them as we are back again to the drawing board in phase 2-6. We're seeing some players like Extra Thick, who we're looking at here, level up already to level 5, so putting the bulk of their economy into experience points, of course, for that additional manpower, those additional units. And now going to take on Coco Slayer here, who finds himself at the top of the leaderboard. This is 1st versus 5th. Coco Slayer trying to keep up a win streak. Extra Thick trying to break it, but of course that would then harm their own economy. We'll see who prevails in this fight. It looks particularly close, but Coco Slayer with a slightly stronger frontline. Patat on the right-hand side of the screen there, as goes up to 5 wins in a row. The same for Coco Slayer. It's a 4th loss in a row for Extra Thick. Retro and Pastelova as well, also losing out. Mini Legend with his win streak snapped by Steph, as himself, Retro and Pastelova all go up to level 5. So some streaks breaking. We see at the top of the leaderboard, unbeaten so far, Coco Slayer and Patat.
Yeah, they're bringing their whimsy today. But yeah, Coco Slayer, a very demanding lead at the moment. But yeah, a contesting comp here. Yeah, remembering my words. Yeah, another Mighty Mag, Joya, apparently. But yeah, it looks like they might be going for different units though, because Udia, as we can see, has Bloodthirster and Edge of Night. However, Udia is a tank, so those items may just be filler for the moment. But yeah, 5-win streak. Lots and lots of econ at the moment.
And that would definitely put Coco Slayer and Patat in the best position, of course, if they want to invest more of that into their experience, potentially for some extra units. You see Newt Silver being the first to go up to level 6, so you'll see where she's beginning to invest the bulk of her econ. The same for Pastelova. And we will wait to see what she tries to do with that additional unit, looking for a Battle Academia competition. You see on the left-hand side there. So I believe the only one going for a BA comp at the minute. I don't think anyone else is.
I think Extra Thick was looking at a Battle Academia comp, but then decided to start going Crystal Rose. So maybe he's looking for those extra points on the Prismatic Crystal Rose.
Definitely not a bad idea. Of course, those bonus points, very, very crucial. But I think what we have observed so far is that most players are sticking to what they know with the same sort of compositions. Mind you, I'm not seeing much Soul Fighter. Usually Mighty Mech up at the top of the leaderboard. Yeah. As, of course, we're seeing that being run by Coco Slayer, who is having a very close fight with Newt Silver, though, as it is a 2v2 now. The backline very, very weak, but the frontline able to get it done for Coco Slayer. 6 wins in a row, the same for Patat. That was a very long-winded fight between Newt Silver and Coco Slayer, probably the hardest fight that Coco Slayer has had so far. But now some additional augment choices as we enter phase 3-2. And it is still Coco Slayer and Patat that remain undefeated on the top of the leaderboard. Everyone else, for the most part, struggling to maintain either a win or loss streak. So that's only putting Coco and Patat at a greater advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm realizing that Mighty Mech might be a popular comp this game because three of the 3-star forecasts are relevant to that comp, as we see Kama and Jarvan, both Mighty Mech characters, and Akali and Executioner, a character that gets played with Mighty Mech quite often. So maybe people trying to go for those like multiple 3-star forecasts to get all of those points.
We'll see how that comes to be. Retro versus Patat now on the battlefield for 30 seconds here as everyone heads back to their own fights here. And immediately looking very, very strong for Patat with that Mighty Mech tearing through Retro's front line. And this will be easy peasy for Patat against Retro. 7 wins in a row, not even close. I don't think Retro got as much as a single pick in that fight. Himself and Steph losing out. Patat remains undefeated as Coco Slayer has his win streak snapped. Patat to 7 in a row. Coco Slayer, though, with a loss, and that's going to be a big blow for Coco Slayer.
Yeah, I think Coco Slayer lost her whimsy there a little bit, but Patat, like, absolutely insane. Like, every week she's here, she's like strong, she's doing well. Like, I don't think she's had one bad game yet. But yeah, a lot of my Emacs I'm seeing at the moment. So that could come to bite them back later, unless they get extremely lucky with getting those units.
We're back to the planning phase here for just a couple more seconds. We're going to head back into the battlefield, and right now we've got Extra Thick versus Mini Legend. This will be the first fight we actually see Mini Legend take to the battlefield on our viewing screens on their debut. As we see, they currently sit 3rd in the leaderboard. Extra Thick down in 6th. Only on a 1 win streak as well, so their economy not doing too well, but Extra Thick looks particularly strong in the front line here with a massive numerical advantage. But there goes Mini Legend's front line as well, way up at the front, getting off the picks there. That's 2 picks, and all of a sudden, the tables have turned, and that's Mini Legend getting the win over Extra Thick. Patat as well maintains her win streak. She's up to 8 in a row, and we are back into the carousel with Patat establishing a commanding lead at the front.
Yeah, bit of trivia for you.
Oh.
One of the reasons Mini Legend is here with us today is because of a rivalry and a bet with Nude Silver. So, you know, place your bets, people, but please don't place bets, but stay responsible, okay?
Gamble responsibly.
Gamble responsibly.
We're all adults here.
We are.
Gamble
We're
responsibly.
very sensible.
Saying that, the bookies have not put any odds out for the Hive Esports TFT series, so
Yeah.
we
You know.
cannot say, can't put an acca on this, unfortunately,
Yeah.
or fortunately. Depends which way you look at it.
We're not trying to promote gambling over
No.
here. Fortunately, not unfortunately. That's a good thing.
No.
Again, stay responsible, people. But yeah, New Silver and Mini Legend. Mini Legend thinks he can win this week, so we'll have to keep an eye out for him. But it appears he's doing really well at the moment. See that 2nd spot, but not 100% sure what this comp is. It's a little bit of Star Guardian, a little bit of Bastion. You can see that backline Zyre in the front line there. And as if fate were real, Nude Silver and Mini Legend up against each other right now. But Mini Legend getting absolutely demolished by Nude Silver.
That wasn't even close. Nude Silver's
No.
front line just absolutely bulldozing through Mini Legend's team then. That is going to, of course, snap Mini Legend's win streak and put, as you see it there on the right-hand side, Mini Legend and Nude Silver, pardon me, right next to each other on the leaderboard, 3rd and 4th. Coco Slayer back up to 2nd place. Patat, though, 9 wins in a row, and with everyone else winning, losing, they're not getting the econ they need in terms of experience points or anything like that to have anything for Patat when they come against her. So she's just going to keep winning, keep boosting her own econ, and she's going to get that buffer. She's got 19 points on Coco Slayer in 2nd place at the minute, and on a 9 win streak that doesn't seem to be much stopping her, with everyone else seemingly almost hurting each other in terms of their own chances if they keep winning and losing without being able to establish a streak.
Yeah. I'd like the econ this game doesn't look particularly promising or particularly great, I would say, but we have a few people with econ. Unfortunately, Newts over here pushing for those early units, potentially a Katarina reroll, so just lacking that econ there. But Steph with 50 gold, another Crystal Rose goer, so looking for those additional points, but absolutely swept by Newts over here, which not too bad if you're going Crystal Rose, because with Crystal Rose you want those losses. You want to rack up those stacks in your little Crystal Rose thing there. Steph almost at 300 stacks, so doing pretty well, but unfortunately on really low health. So he's gonna have to watch out for that.
Yeah, he must not bite off more than he can chew. Of course, he wants to soak up that pressure
Yeah.
a little bit, go down in terms of those losses. You see 5 in a row, 49 gold for Steph. So you'd have to imagine within the next couple of rounds, Steph is going to start investing big with that econ that he's beginning to build up. Of course, though, he's putting himself at risk. He can't then win those fights because he's already on just 30 health as 10 in a row for Patat as well.
Yeah.
So she is also getting that econ as well, but also has the massive buffer of still being undefeated on 100 points. So I have to say, at the moment, of course, things can change very quickly in TFT.
Yeah.
So far, I'd have to say Patat's game to lose, really.
Yeah, Steph, unfortunately, with 3 BF swords with a primarily AP comp, but yeah, unfortunately, with only 3 Crystal Gambit, it's not going to be providing him with much value, unfortunately. But yeah, on 30 health already, he needs to pull a miracle, I would say.
Definitely. Well, we've seen crazier things happen. Of course, Jaya was something of an expert at loss streaking at the beginning of games and ended up just bulldozing through everyone. I think last week he went from about 7th to 2nd. Of course, didn't quite have it for Newt Silver that time around, but loss streaking definitely a viable tactic. You know, Steph versus Mini Legend, both of whom are one's trying to keep up a loss streak, one's trying to keep up a win streak. So I think both of them almost want Mini Legend to win this one, but of course, Steph can't bite off more than he could chew, already down to just 30 health. Looks fairly close run for the moment. And still the fight continues as we are going to go into extra time here. But you'll notice in the top right-hand corner, Patat has had her win streak snapped.
Wow.
And Steph as well gets one over on Mini Legend. And with Coco Slayer taking the win, that brings the gap down to just 7 points. Patat's win streak could not get quite to 11. It snaps at 10.
Yeah.
And that could be something of a turning point for this game.
Yeah, potentially. I want to know who might have beat them, but yeah, unfortunately, well, to be fair, still going really strong. So, you know, could still, excuse me. So, Patat's still going strong. She's going to have that econ from her win streak, so she hasn't lost much yet. But, yeah, we've seen Patat with losing streaks as well, coming back from those, so it's still all to play for.
You see as well, a pretty big pick there on the right-hand side. That's a 3-star Malzahar as well for Retro, so
Yeah.
potentially look for them to be particularly strong in the next few rounds. That's a big pick for them. We've now got Patat versus Steph. Steph, of course, just snapped a loss streak. Patat just had a win streak snap, so I think both of them are now looking for an additional win here to get back on track. But it looks like Patat has a particularly strong front line, though. Steph, not keeling over by any stretch of the imagination, does get a couple picks of his own, and it's becoming a very close run. And it's going to be Steph that does get that final couple of picks that just overwhelms Patat. It's 2 in a row for Steph now, up to 7th place. Coco Slayer as well, though, losing out, so Patat does retain the lead, but that brings Retro and Newt Silver and Pastelova within just over 20 points of the lead to the top 5. Very, very close together as Extra Thick now down to last.
Yeah, Patat and Coco Slayer, as we can see with those mighty mechs, but Steph with that Crystal Gambit cash out, definitely giving him lots of gold, but absolutely beautiful there as well with that augment malicious monetization. Getting those kills while that augment is active is going to give him tons and tons of gold. but it looks like he's chosen to or potentially level up and reroll.
You now see Steph versus Pastelova. Pastelova does have the advantage of levels, so an additional unit in favor of Pastelova. And it is going to be Pastelova very convincingly getting the win there. Steph down to just 14 points. Mini Legend as well with the loss, down to just 27. And that is going to put Steph down to last and on something of a knife edge here, as he does no longer have a streak to rely on. Does have fairly good econ with that augment you mentioned, but is back somewhat against the wall with that winning streak snapped and back into the carousel. Patat still leads, albeit now is not invincible on 77 points. Retro, Coco Slayer, and Pastelova all within 6 points of each other. Then Newt Silver in 5th. Extra Thick manages to give themselves some comfort. They get up to 6th. Mini Legend just behind, and then Steph with his back very much up against the wall in 8th.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Steph. 3 and 5 Crystal Gambit aren't really strong, but it only really pops off when you get 7. 7 Crystal Gambit, absolutely disgustingly broken. But yeah, judging by the leaderboard at the moment, there is no clear-cut winner. Like, everyone is on fairly low health. Like, they're all around that 40-50 mark. But yeah, there is, as we saw a minute ago with that Soul Fighter, but a very questionable comp from Mini Legend here, but I think he's doing his best.
He's doing very, very well. Of course, was as high as 2nd at one point. Has now got Coco Slayer to contend with, who finds themselves in 3rd position. We'll have to wait and see. This is a must-win for Mini Legend. Otherwise, it'll probably be maybe 1 at best 2 games from elimination should he fail to win this one. But he looks particularly strong on the front line. So does Coco Slayer, however, and eventually he's just going to overwhelm Mini Legend at the back line. And that will be the win for Coco Slayer. And for Retro, a loss for Patat. That brings 2nd through 4th just that little bit closer to Patat, and Steph with that loss is out of the game. He'll finish 8th in game number 1 in week 4. Mini Legend now at the bottom of the leaderboard in 7th. Extra Thick though with another big win. Silver though losing out, so the elimination race gets that little bit hotter.
Yeah, rest in peace, Steph. Gone but not forgotten. Hopefully you can do a bit better next game, but I think this by far was your worst game. But really unfortunate there, just -1 health, so if he had killed 1 more unit in that fight, he would have just made it, but Patat versus Extra Thick here. Patat a very strong force in this game, so Extra Thick needs to win, but absolutely destroyed by Patat there. Like, wow, stood no chance.
Barely even registered what was going on by the time I think Patat had ended up winning that game. That was seeming Extra Thick looked particularly strong coming into this on a 3-4 win streak with their back somewhat against the wall. Of course, you see, was on 29 health, now on 14. Patat coming off a loss might have looked a bit vulnerable, but seemingly able to bounce back just as hard, and some good momentum now coming the way of Patat. Mini Legend, though, very much on the brink. 4 points left before Mini Legend drops out, so he needs to start winning games pronto, but still at the top of the leaderboard, very, very tight. The top 4 within 23 points. Newt Silver sort of hanging in the balance, but Extra Thick and Mini Legend 1 game potentially from elimination. So it's going to be a massive game. We're heading back into some PvE just to get some additional econ. Of course, everyone should routinely be winning these as we get our little reminder. Retro on a 5-win streak, so someone to watch, potentially getting their first win of the series. But of course they do have to overcome Patat, who does have a win herself from all the way back in week 1, so it will be no mean feat for Retro.
Yeah, again, while Patat, I think does Patat have 1 win or 2 wins? I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to look at that in a little bit. But yeah, Patat, a very strong contender, so it's very consistently in the top. But as you can see here, Patat with the Karma, the Volley Bear, and the Jarvan. So despite going for the win, also going for them additional points. So even in a top 4, she still will get lots of points.
Yeah, of course, whoever wins the game may not necessarily get the most amount of points. If someone who finishes second or third went for those comps that dish out bonus points, it could be even better. And that is Patat getting a convincing victory over Newt Silver, and that's Extra Thick and Mini Legend gone in one foul swoop. They will finish 6th and 7th as they both drop out, excuse me. Newt Silver now down to 5th as she lost as well. Coco Slayer still in combat as well. Pasta Lover and Retro getting those wins as well, up to 6 in a row for Retro, 5 for Pasta Lover. So both of them as well looking particularly strong up at the front. So as the flyers begin to drop, we've got 3 out now. Newt Silver somewhat on the brink, a far cry from that sweep that we saw in week number 3. The race at the top between the top 3 still hotting up as ever, as all 3 of them continue to win their fights. But now Newt Silver versus Retro. Newt Silver trying to stay alive now in this game. It's Retro on a 6-win streak and looking massively strong in his front line. Damage output huge there from Retro, but Newt Silver, despite a valiant effort towards the end of the fight, picked off some very strong units there. Just about could not get it done versus Retro, and down to just 8 points. Retro getting it done there. Coco Slayer down to just 17 points, somewhat falling off this front 3. But Retro as well, losing the game means the top 3 are now within just 6 points of each other.
Yeah, absolute storm from Retro today. We don't see them often, but you know, well, he's coming today. He said, "I'm gonna win," and he's doing his best. And a very whimsical little worker bee just told me that Steph did not, in fact, cash out that Crystal Gambit. He won a round by accident and lost all of it.
Oh no!
So, unfortunately, there Steph did not get that Crystal Gambit cash out.
I think we call that suffering from success, really, don't we?
Yeah.
Winning by accident is admittedly very impressive, but
losing all of your cash out stats, unfortunate.
That's really a suboptimal.
Yeah.
Heading back into the carousel, of course, we've only got 5 players left, and 2 of them very much on the brink. Newt Silver on 8 points, Coco Slayer on 1 HP.
1 point. Hanging on by a thread there.
And quite the thin thread at that. So an absolute must win next round if Coco Slayer wants to stay alive in this game. Same as well for Newt Silver. Patat as well, falling off a bit from the front 2. Retro and Pasta Lover now 1st and 2nd as those win streaks are coming in clutch for them. Patat really unable to put it together late game here. We'll see if she can bring it back. So we are back to the planning phase.
Yeah, a very strong game from Pasta Lover today. I don't believe they've had any particularly strong games recently. I believe they're usually close to the bottom, anywhere from like 6th to 8th. I could be wrong. So apologies to Pasta Lover if I've just absolutely hit you with bus there. But yeah, so very well done for doing good this week.
Well, we've now got Pasta Lover versus Retro. 1st versus 2nd, 1 on 7 wins, 1 on 8 wins. So something has to give between these 2, and immediately you can see the damage that both of them are putting out here. Pasta Lover looking particularly strong though. We'll see if Retro's backline can do anything about it, but it's Pasta Lover bulldozing through Retro's units there, and it's going to be Pasta Lover getting a massive victory over Retro. Newt Silver and Coco Slayer both winning their games to stay alive. Patat and, of course, Retro, as we saw, both losing. So Pasta Lover taking the lead with 8 wins in a row in the nick of time. We were talking about maybe Retro taking his first win versus what was very strong Patat. Pasta Lover seems to have come out of nowhere. Now all of a sudden this is their game to lose. Maybe Pasta Lover might be getting their first win. Hopefully not a caster curse there, but
yeah,
wow.
Pasta Lover definitely capitalizing on the fact that Soulfighter has not been contested. Jai, Mr. Mango, our Soul Fighter enjoyers aren't here today, so definitely a good choice from Pasta Lover. And another player going for those extra points with a very close to Prismatic Soul Fighter, and then a Samira and Volibear close to 3-star. So yeah, Coco Slayer versus Retro here, but unfortunately for Coco Slayer, that Darius just obliterated that front line, and the Malzahar with that stacking, like, global damage, I guess we'll call it, getting that back line and that front line. So really unfortunate there. But yeah, our top 4, Retro, Pastelava, Newt Silver, and Patat. Unfortunate for Coco Slayer, that thin thread just did not last.
Yeah, unfortunately, 1 point not enough to survive on for Coco Slayer. They will finish 5th in this game, and it's now Patat and Newt Silver hanging on by a thread, but Newt Silver has hung on with 8 points for a substantial amount of time. We head back into some PvE. It's phase 5-7 of this match. And Retro taking back the lead from Pastelava. So now really it's anyone's game. No one really has a big streak going. No one, of course, has that flame around their avatar, so no one with a win streak greater than 4. And with everyone trading wins, I don't think anyone has a win streak greater than, I think, even 2. So economy will not be the biggest factor at this point. Of course, everyone has begun to flesh out their compositions. Pastelava up to level 9 now, so an additional unit for him. Maybe just what he needs to get that first victory of the series, as we are now about to head back into combat for phase 6-1. And it will be Pastelava versus Retro yet again. So another big fight. Or Pastelava versus Patat, sorry. Retro on the sidelines, deceiving me there. A must-win here for Patat, as Newt Silver and Retro will be the players contending with each other. It's going to be Pastelava getting it done fairly convincingly over Patat. And that will be Patat and Newt Silver, both in one foul swoop, dropping out. 3rd and 4th for Newt Silver and Patat, leaves just Retro and Pastelava. So no matter what happens now, we will have a first-time winner in Game 1 of Week 4 of the Hive Esports TFT series. And both of them looking very strong, still on over 40 points each.
Yeah, so like usual, this could go on for a short while, but Pastelava is extremely close to that 3-star Samira, that 3-star Volley Bear, and that Prismatic 8 Soul Fighter. It's giving me deja vu of that Patat and Newt Silver game, where Newt Silver was on the brink of victory, but then Patat just got that Prismatic trade. But yeah, as unfortunate as it is for Newt Silver and Patat, it is good to see some new players in this top 2.
Definitely, and they are still doing their own little PvE there. Oh no, there was PvP. They were both sort of on top of each other. They're deceiving me. Pastelava gets the win over Retro. Crucial win there. That snaps Retro's win streak, of course, and just gives Pastelava a little bit of a momentum boost, and that puts Pastelava back on the top of the leaderboard on 40 points. Retro down to 28 in phase 6-3. They'll head back to the drawing board for another 20-odd seconds. See if they want to move their units about. See Pastelava just appearing on the screen there. Obviously, taking a look at what Retro might be getting up to. Of course, everyone, or these last two, trying to move their units any which way that might give them just that tiny advantage. As we get into the late game, it's those fine margins that make all the difference. But we head back into the battlefield. And again, Pastelava versus Retro. They're the only two left. There will be a first-time winner no matter which way you slice it in this first game of week number 4. It's just a matter of who. Retro looking to make up some points, having only made 2 of the 4 weeks so far. Pastelava looking to claw his way back into the fray. But a convincing victory again for Pastelava puts Retro on the brink, down to just 7 points. Back into the carousel for Pastelava and Retro. And you'll have to say, with the win streak now and just how few points Retro has left, excuse me, this is Pastelava's game to lose, you'd have to say.
Yeah, even without that 3-star Samira or 3-star Volley Bear, unfortunately there will be no 3-star Samira as Retro is holding 2 Samiras. But as we can see here, 8 Soul Fighter Prismatic, so a bonus 2 points for Pastelava. Even without it, absolutely sweeping Retro.
Absolutely, Retro not standing much of a chance at the moment. Pastelava has just got that composition fine-tuned to be pretty much almost unbreakable, as it wasn't even really close last time out. Still many units on the field for Pastelava, and we're going to go back into what may well be the final fight of game number 1 in week 4. Pastelava holds all the cards. Retro on just 7 points. Just the most minute changes in composition for both of them. But again, it looks like it's going to be all Pastelava as he demolishes through Retro's team. And it's going to be win number 1 in the series for Pastelava. He takes it in game 1 in week 4. And that is a very, very convincing, strong victory for Pastelova as he looks to claw back points up towards the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Pastelova just unbeatable towards the end there. And again, congratulations on that extra 2 points with that soul fighter trait. If only if it was the additional point, that would have been 3 additional points. 11 points
Yeah.
would have been insane, but still 10 points, definitely going to bring him up the leaderboard. But yeah, again, even without that like last minute prismatic trait, absolutely sweeping Retro. So really unfortunate there. But Retro being a little bit cheeky and holding that Samira, so
Definitely a big, big point for Pastelova. Of course, everyone around him seemed to falter somewhat, the likes of Steph and Coco Slayo, not with the best results. Jai not being here, Newt Silver and Patat both failing to win as well. So you have to say Coco Slayer really the big beneficiary from that first game. A massive points haul for them will definitely catapult them up the leaderboard, something that we'll be looking at in the break, which we're just about to go to. Of course, we'll calculate, of course, not only where everyone placed, but those prismatic traits that we mentioned, those unit choices that grant you those extra bonus points. It might be a little bit harder on the old maths side, but it will make the competition all the more interesting. So we will be back in just a few minutes for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to twitch.tv/Hive Esports Games for week 4 of the Hive Esports Teamfight Tactics series. We just concluded game number 1 with Pasta Lover taking his first ever win in the series in a heated battle with Retro at the end of the fight. So a big swing in points with a massive win for Pasta Lover, Jai being unavailable and Newt Silver and Patat only in 3rd and 4th as well. So a big swing in points for Pastelov. We've got game 2 loading up soon, but first, your initial thoughts on game number 1 and what we might see in this second game, George.
Well, that felt like a very quick game. I feel like a lot of our games have been pretty back and forwards, but this game felt pretty one-sided towards Pastelova, especially towards the end. But yeah, didn't do much in the early game, but definitely made up for it in the late game. So very nice. Hopefully Steph doesn't accidentally win again when he doesn't mean to. So, but yeah, a very whimsical game indeed.
I think that definitely had some whimsy to it. I think it was a very back and forth game, as you mentioned. Pastelova, of course, coming back. Patat at the beginning looked untouchable.
Yeah.
I think I need to stop saying it's X person's game to lose, because I think it's probably worked against that person a good half dozen times.
Cursing them.
I keep cursing them when they look untouchable and then they don't win. So we're going to cut that and we're just going to, oh, they look really good. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But we have got game number 2 loading up in just a moment. We'll have that for you in just a couple of seconds. We'll jump in now.
Hooray! Back into Teamfight Tactics. As we can see, the little augment for the game, little beach ball there. Hopefully people are gonna have some fun with that. I would just like to take a second to appreciate Newt Silver. Last game she had a bee skin, and today last game she had a bee skin, and she's back with another bee skin.
She's rapping.
Festive, very whimsical.
Very whimsical.
Bringing the whimsy to Hive TFT tournament.
That's what it's all about.
The whimsy, the whimsical,
the childlike glee. I'm feeling some
yes.
childlike glee looking at Silver's beat.
I was gonna say, I feel very whimsical.
I'm forgetting all my problems right now.
No, real. I'm having the time of my life, and I hope everyone else is as well.
Looks like Newt Silver's as well. The way she's just bouncing around that beach ball, having a whale of a time while her units go and fight.
Yeah, I mean, the whimsy bringing her the units she likes. Again, she's been one of those like Lulu enjoyers, and at like two Smolders at level 2 already. Girl, this game is hers to win. This game is hers to win.
Ooh.
Manifesting in the other direction.
Manifesting. Bit of reverse psychology there.
Yeah. Hopefully
Reverse
the
jinx and then it
universe picks up on
works.
that,
Yeah. I love your thinking.
Yeah. Again, one of the comps we see quite often, the Smolder or like one of the Lulu units with that heavyweight or Bastion or Protector, just anything frontline based. But yeah.
We've got some more PvE here in phase 1 and pretty routine here. Pastelova is who we're focusing on. Winner in game 1. His first ever win in the Hive TFT series. We'll see if he can pull through potentially for another sweep. We've got some gold augment choices as we enter phase 2. A couple rerolls here for game 1 winner Pastelova, with a 2-star pick there. Some players, Steph and Patat, investing in some experience points as they reach level 4. And now some power-up choices. Now looking at extra thick. I think only managed 5th or 6th in the first game. A bit of a far cry from what we know they're capable of. Not quite any wins yet in the series, but we know they're a very, very strong contender. Coco Slayer as well, and Retro runner-up last time. Newt Silver, everyone getting up to level 4. Very samey in terms of how people are investing their econ so far. Of course, that will continue to change in the later early game into the mid-game. So you start to see people flash up their comps and then go for it.
What the hell?
As
the bugged power up there.
the bugged power-up is
Counting in reverse.
ruining what we levels and econ at the bottom of the screen. Negative 17 seconds on the clock for everyone to choose their power-ups. Get on it, guys.
I hope that doesn't keep on going, because we will reach the forbidden number eventually.
Yeah.
Unless it just goes to a minute. I'm actually kind of intrigued as to see
I
what
actually
keeps...
wanna.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
it's
it's
no.
gone.
I was actually kind of hoping that'd stay.
Wait, if we go back to whoever it was... Oh,
no,
it's gone.
it didn't work.
Thank God. No forbidden number for anyone
No forbidden
today.
numbers.
Get that away from us.
Everyone, half the leaderboard on 100 points is Pastelova, Retro, Extra Thick, and Mini Legends succumb to their first losses of the game, but only a minimum of 94 points so far. No forbidden number just yet, and hopefully we do not see that for the remainder of the game. For the remainder of the series, we don't want that number anywhere near
apparently, we
us.
had that last round.
We did.
But
neither
we
of us
didn't
clocked.
see it. Thank God.
Yeah.
If I see it this round, I'm leaving. You
Yeah.
won't see me again. This B's taken.
This B will
B's
take
taken much.
over.
Yeah.
And
We're
half
gonna
the
have a
commentary will be
bee
just
casting.
bzzz.
Oh my God. Bzz, 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 bzz. You guys will have to decipher that. Okay, that's not on us.
But it'll be whoever lands on that amount of points
Yeah.
or manifests that number, because that's there for.
No, manifest against that.
Yes.
We don't want that here.
What's the opposite of it?
I don't know. What's the opposite?
Because you don't really have opposite numbers, do you?
No, you don't. I guess like
So the
half
numbers
or
what?
double, I guess, or like just any number that's not that
Flip the
number.
digits.
7, 6. Devious indeed.
Devious.
Devious,
No one
very
quite down
devious.
to 7-6 either. Should we try talking about the game?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
That's kind of why we're
I
here.
think that would be a good idea. Well, we're here to bring whimsy.
We
and
are here to bring
joy.
whimsy.
We're here to
for
bring
some
whimsy.
fun. Yeah.
We're serious. We talk about the game, but we're also here.
It's
for
all
the
fun and
bit of
games,
whimsy.
which means it's
Yeah.
fun and games, not just games. There you
Yeah,
go.
we are here for the fun and games. I mean, look at that beach ball, okay?
Look at that beach ball.
Like even TFT knows to bring that whimsy and joy, okay?
Exactly. So we'll bring some of the whimsy and joy. Someone probably feeling quite whimsical and joyful right now, Patat and Newt Silver, they remain undefeated so far. As we look at Mini Legend and Retro, they find themselves at the bottom of the leaderboard in 7th and 8th, so not the best start for them. Of course, maybe build a lost streak like we've seen some players do in the past, and it ends up being very, very fruitful, so I have to see how well that works. Of course, very, very few units on the field in this early game. Looks to be coming up all Mini Legend here with a 2v1. Retro looking to potentially get one pick, and does. We'll see what the damage output is like for Retro. It's very, very close run, and it's going to be just about Retro by a hair. Mini Legend on
that
3 losses in a row.
unit from Retro casted, it would have been a different story, but that was rough.
That was one of the fights I've ever seen in TFT. Now back into the carousel. Patat and Newt Silver remain undefeated on 100 points. Pastelova in 3rd on 96. Retro in 4th. Extra Thick and Coco Slayer and Steph tied for 5th. And Mini Legend, pardon me, on just 85 points at the bottom of the leaderboard. Too early to tell really who's looking strongest. Obviously easy to say Patat and Newt Silver strong contenders. Remain undefeated so far, but as we know from game 1, and really we should have learned our lesson in weeks 1, 2, and 3, that is not all telling. So we'll have to wait and see as we head back into the planning phase, level 5 for a couple of players.
Yeah.
As we start to see the divergence in how people are investing their economy, some in experience, some in other areas, but still fleshing out their comps, and we're back to sort of the same, a Soul Fighter comp here for Patat.
Excuse me, I nearly said Poot Silver. Let's just try to put Patat and Newt Silver together. Yeah, Patat going for that Soul Fighter. Again, our Soul Fighter enjoyers, Jai and Mr. Mango, not here, so definitely a good idea to capitalize on that. And if they've been scouting, I haven't really seen any others, but there is a lot of contestation on the Battle Academia front there. Patat versus Steph here. Excuse me. A very close one indeed, but I think Patat... Oh, never mind.
It's a 2v2.
I'm just gonna...
Oh,
okay.
Oh, wow.
That was very close. Yeah, that consistent Malzahar damage and that damage over time, getting every unit. Just very strong early game champion Malzahar is.
Is that unit flossing? Demise deceived me.
Unfortunately, I fear it might have been flossing.
That's awful.
Yeah.
The only thing you should be flossing is your teeth, chat,
Yeah.
as we know.
Yeah, don't floss, okay? That might be worse than... the forbidden number. The forbidden number.
Thankfully,
No
no one
one's on
quite
it, yeah.
reaching that number just yet. I'm not gonna lie, I have a bit of a watchful eye. I was looking at the end. I noticed I was saying like phase 6-2, 6-3. I got a little
Oh my
scared.
God,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie. towards the
Yeah,
end of
I
last
think
game.
it... Oh, I think at that stage in the game, it can get up to those devious numbers. But
Let's hope it does not.
yeah.
But Newt Silver versus Patat. Patat just off the back of a loss. As you can see, they're down to 96 points. Newt Silver remains undefeated. 4 wins in a row. Both front lines looking particularly strong here. Both of them getting picks, but that gank in the middle of the park is going to be what makes the difference. 4v1. Patat with a big splat in the face, unfortunately, knocks her down to third. Newt Silver 5 in a row. Pasta Lover as well up to second. Extra Thick and Coco Slayer still battling it out, and it's going to be Coco Slayer getting the win there. Retro now down to last as Mini Legend gets the win in his game, and still too early to tell. Things looking very close again. Similar story to game number 1. No one really able to get a streak together apart from the front runners with their win streaks.
Yeah. As we can see here, Newt Silver only level 5, but got that 2-star Smolder already. Again, as we know, that Lulu comp is very comfortable for Newt Silver, so definitely a very strong game for her and something to look out for.
Back into some PvE for those additional rewards. Newt Silver, again, picks up the beach ball, has a little bit of fun while our units battle it out for some additional rewards.
See, got that whimsy.
Got that whimsy, everyone getting there.
Whimsy.
Hopefully routine victories by now. Mini Legend last to do so, but we'll be getting it done just about now. As we watch Mini Legend currently sits 7th on the leaderboard. Back into the planning phase. We'll see what they choose to do with those additional rewards. Retro with a 3-star pick. Newt Silver up to level 6. So both ends of the leaderboard investing their econ differently. We'll see how that comes to Retro. Retro was someone who was sitting near the foot of the leaderboard for a lot of game number 1. Was lost streaking in the early and mid game, and it came good for him at the end. Got 2nd place, which is his best ever finish so far in any game so far in the series, having only appeared in week 2. So an admirable performance. And it's going to be Retro versus Coco Slayer here. So it's going to be 6th versus 8th. So a loss streak, no matter what, will be snapped here at this point in the game. And it looks to be fairly even, but eventually Retro starting to come through there. It's now 2v2 down in the bottom right. And again, now 1v1, but it's going to be Retro with a slight health disadvantage. Newt Silver with a 6th win in a row. Oh, Retro was in the green, pardon me. So that was going to be Retro getting the win there over Coco Slayer, all the way up to 5th place, with Coco Slayer, Steph, and Mini Legend all losing out. And some additional augment picks as Pasta Lover up to 5 wins in a row, Newt Silver up to 6. So those two are going to be loving the econ they get from those particular streaks, as 3 rerolls in a row for Retro in his augment picks.
Yeah, Retro there, I believe, getting worth the wait, I think. But yeah, very good for the crew comp, because as we know, the crew, you want those 3 stars, because that's the scaling you get from the crew. But yeah, a 3-star Sivir so early is going to be great, and potentially even a 4-star Sivir. So might have to look out for some 4-star 1 costs a bit later. But yeah, that 3-star definitely just like pulling them through just now. But a very questionable item swap there.
We've now got Patat versus Retro, 2nd and 3rd, or 2nd and 4th, pardon me, I should say, from game number 1, as Patat trying to get back to winning ways after a slight slump in game number 1, as fairly even, but I think Patat is starting to pull ahead in the unit race. Again, I've got them swapped around. Retro was the one pulling ahead in that 3v1. And it's going to be a big win for Retro, up to 3rd already. With, again, some win-loss for a lot of guys in the mid and bottom of the leaderboard. And now we enter phase 3-3. Newt Silver and Pasta Lover still on their own respective long win streaks. Retro on the 3rd longest streak. He finds himself catapulted from 8th to 3rd in just a matter of a couple of rounds. And it's Mini Legend at the bottom of the leaderboard at the moment on just 60 points.
Yeah, Pasta Lover channeling their inner Dragon Ball Z there with the oh, I believe that augment gives you more stats the more games you win. So, you know, 6 balls there for 6 wins, but after they get that 7th ball, there's going to be huge stat increases. So, very good scaling for Pasta Lover, especially in the early game.
So this will be critical for Pasta Lover then to get the win here over Extra Thick. Extra Thick currently sits 4th in the leaderboard versus Pasta Lover, who is 2nd. 6 wins in a row, of course, for Pasta Lover, trying to get a 2nd win in a row in the series and 7th in this game. And it looks to be, at least in the middle of the park, getting that 3v1. Very, very promising for Pasta Lover, pardon me. And again, 3 versus 1 should be a routine victory for Pasta Lover. That crucial 7th win in a row. Extra Thick down to 5th. Patat as well, losing against Steph and Mini Legend, able to hold on. But Newt Silver as well, losing that 7 win streak means no one is undefeated as we head back into the carousel.
Yeah, again, Pasta Lover with those golden balls, giving them those extra stats necessary for early game survival. But yeah, definitely having that econ at the moment, gonna secure that late game spot. As we can see as well, Pasta Lover going for that Soul Fighter again potentially. But this game, it is a little bit contested. So whether or not they manage to get their units is the next question.
We'll have to wait and see whether everyone gets the units they need. Newt Silver and Patat both going up to level 7 at the same time there. As we see Extra Thick as well in Candyland. Looking
Extra
very,
thick
very,
with the... I hope that's a Janna reroll comp, because Janna reroll is one of my favorite comps of all time. Like, whenever Janna is in TFT, she's usually a 2 cost, and she's usually like a support but does a bit of damage, and she always has like a really fun reroll comp for whatever reason. But unfortunately here I don't think it is going to be Janna reroll. I think it's going to be Protector Strategist with maybe a bit of Mentor. So potentially pushing for the late game here.
Definitely never a bad idea. We've seen it work many, many times over in previous weeks. This could be Extra Thick bulldozing through Mini Legend here, still with many, many units to spare. And it's Extra Thick back to winning ways, down to 49 points for Mini Legend. Steph, Patat, and Retro, the bottom 4, all losing games. So that's going to put a big rift in points between the top 4. Pardon me, and the bottom 4. Extra Thick gets the win. Coco Slayer, Newt Silver, and Pasta Lover all winning their games. And back to the drawing board, Pasta Lover up to level 7, but now on an 8-game win streak, I believe, for Pasta Lover. So looking very, very strong in the early game here. But of course, looks can be deceiving in TFT.
Yeah,
a loss streak can be just as strong as a win streak when it comes to the late game.
Yeah, and vice versa, obviously. Whilst having a win streak early means you're doing strong, it could also mean that your comp falls off in the late game. So, yeah, it definitely happened to me a few times, but hopefully won't happen to our Hive TFT players. But, yeah, it's something to keep note of.
Hopefully everyone is going to enjoy their comps the whole way through. We've now got Coco Slayer versus Mini Legend. This is 3rd versus 8th here. And it looks to be very, very routine for Coco Slayer. Gets it done versus Mini Legend, who's down to just 40 points. Steph not far behind on 41. Rest of the game still to be played. Pasta Lover and Coco Slayer and Extra Thick all winning. So loss streaking, it seems to be for the bottom 4. Win streaking for the top 4. So I think in this stage of the game, the econ looks a lot more fruitful in game 2 than it did in game number 1. But again, not indicative totally of who is the strongest. Pasta Lover, of course, does lead the way with 9 wins in a row on 96 points, only losing that first game, that first round of the game. Back into some PvE for some additional rewards, so a break from PvP. Everyone should be routinely winning these without breaking much of a sweat. And interestingly enough, it's the bottom 3 of the bottom 4 that are the first 3 to win their PvE fights. So maybe a slight indication of potentially a change in who might be the strongest. We'll have to wait and see, as we're going to jump into combat in just about 15 seconds.
Yeah, definitely winning the PvE indicative of damage. So, you know, we know they have damage, but if they don't have the front line to sustain that damage, then it's possible that their damage gets killed before they have the chance to do their damage. So yeah, again, Steph here with that really strong Katarina, as we know, with the Nashor's Tooth and Executioner, a very good combo, but not much front line to distract the enemy units from that Katarina, as we can see her taking lots of damage there.
And immediately, as we see Steph versus Patat, two players that are trying a loss streak. And that looked fairly easy, honestly, for Steph versus Patat Mini Legend as well, losing out their 7th now for Patat. Coco Slayer and Extra Thick both losing, so that's going to bring the gap in the middle of the leaderboard just a little bit closer. Some gold augment choices, 1 reroll there for Patat. 2 rerolls, potentially 3. We'll have to wait and see. A 3rd reroll? Not
No, she's
quite.
gone for that scavenger, that is fair enough. Get those items.
Never a bad choice, as we see some additional units being chosen by our players. A 3-star Malphite there for Retro. That's a second 3-star, if I'm not mistaken, for Retro.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Got that Sivir and that Malphite. So 2 levels for the crew. I don't actually know what they're called, but like 2 3-stars for the crew there. Yeah, and like 2 Sivirs away from that 3-star. Excuse me, 2 Sivers away from that 4-star Sivir as well, but also very close to that 3-star Ziggs. So yeah, again, the crew is very high risk, high reward. If you get those 3 stars, then you're gonna have a lot of power in the late game. But unfortunately, if you're unable to keep up, then you will fall behind. But at the moment, it looks very promising for Retro.
it definitely does with 2 3-stars. It's not a 2v1. It's going to be Retro getting it done versus Coco Slayer. Pastel Lover as well with another win. Same for Newt Slayer. Newt Slayer?
Newt Slayer.
I am
Slayer.
combining players. Yeah, we've had Poot Silver and Newt Slayer.
Yeah, it's... Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
We are combining all the players.
We're having a very whimsical time.
We're having a whimsical time. Very
I feel like
carefree.
if we say that, it sounds like we're doing something a bit dubious.
Yeah.
Like maybe illegal substances. But we're having... we're fine, guys. We're not on drugs or anything.
We don't advocate for
We are
that.
sober. I've had a Dr. Pepper before, so, you know, something to take the edge off. But
Yeah.
nothing,
No more than
nothing
that.
illegal, guys.
If you want to have some enjoyable substances while enjoying some Hive gameplay, I suggest honey.
Honey,
Some
yeah,
ethically
honey.
sourced,
Ethically sourced
bee-made honey.
Very sweet.
Very sweet. Go with a lot of things as well.
Yeah, it's antibacterial, I guess. Like
Yeah, lasts long
very
as
good.
well.
It doesn't expire. Honey doesn't expire.
It doesn't expire. The worker bees
Guys,
are amazing making a long-lasting
Yeah,
honey.
guys, let us know if you want us to give you some bee facts, okay? Like,
Yeah.
I'm willing to learn some bee facts. Did you know some bees are really fat?
Some bees are real. Did you
Really
know
fat.
that according to all known laws of aviation, there is no way that a bee should be able to fly?
Oh my god, there's
Its tiny little wings are too small to lift its fat body off the
Those
ground.
little rotund guys and their little wing. These are so cute.
Bees are so cool. We chose a good name.
We did.
And we chose a great mascot in Nameless the Bee.
Yeah.
He-
Again, we're gonna be running that poll soon, so you know, if you want to name this bee, definitely go check that out, and then we will pick a name, or we will have you guys pick a name. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that.
Keep your eyes peeled. Even.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Oh,
Oh,
we've got the puns going out. And
It's
in all
over
that, Mini
there.
Legend has unfortunately fallen out.
oh.
That's a rip.
Well, we were talking about bees, so I guess it's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Newt's over there, very close to that 3. Oh. Didn't even give me the chance to say it. Just, yeah, Newt's over there with that 3-star Smolder. Again, like one of those really strong scaling units. And although heavyweight is contested, it appears she has all of those units. But Newt's over here versus Retro, another one of those 3-star comps, but
Ooh, wow. Looking very strong. Retro, though, his backline looking particularly strong, though. But it is Newt Silver getting it done just about.
yeah.
6 wins in a row. Pastel Lover, of course, as we mentioned, or as we observed even, that fire from the Avatar gone, so not able to maintain that win streak, but did win their latest game. So Newt Silver and Pastel are very much pulling away from the rest of the leaderboard here. Steph as well, I did see get a 3-star Katarina, so that's the second 3-star pick that we've seen for Steph.
Steph in third place. I mean, to be fair, at the moment we have our two very, like, our top two with lots of health, but everyone else kind of in a little bit of a gray area. But yeah, good to see Steph doing better than usual. Hopefully he can keep this standing up. But yeah, congratulations.
Good job, Steph. Of course, anything that happens right now is an improvement.
The B congratulates.
The B congratulates Steph on his improved performance in game number 2.
Oh my god.
Hopefully we'll see potentially a first podium. Of course, double top 4 in week 2 for Steph was very, very strong and a good point for him. But you know, a podium is always good for the ego, good for momentum. And Steph looking particularly strong. It's a 2v2 now, 2v1 in favor of Patat. Now a 1v1 is oh so close, but Patat is going to get it done versus Steph.
That was really unfortunate. Steph on level 6, unfortunately. Maybe if he had those levels, but unfortunately Patat with Scavenger, so when she gets those kills, she's going to get more items. So the more units that she kills, the more items and the more stronger her units are going to get. So unfortunately for Steph there, just got out-augmented.
Out-augmented for Steph, unfortunately, down to 4th. But only 2 points behind Retro, who sits in 3rd, Patat in 5th, Coco Slayer 6th, Extra Thick all the way down in 7th on just 8 points, so a must win from now on for Extra Thick if they are to stay alive in this game. So everyone completes their PvE, back to the planning phase for 30 seconds. And we've got some more choosing to do at the bottom of the screen, including the oh-so-comical Needlessly Large Rod.
Needlessly Large Rod, yeah. And we got some BF swords as well, if anyone can decipher what that might mean. But yeah, so we're very child-friendly on this, okay?
We are.
We don't swear at all.
We definitely did not mention illicit substances like 10 minutes ago.
Well, we were advocating against
that.
That
is
okay,
true.
So we're, you know, and we were advocating for honey as well.
Yes, get your ethically sourced honey. Ethically sourced honey.
Okay.
From your ethical beekeepers.
But
Support your local beekeepers, guys.
Yeah. TFT Hive Esports is appropriate for all ages and all groups of people.
Absolutely. So Newt Silver and Patat, we've seen them go at it at the top of the leaderboard many, many times in the first few weeks, and clearly Patat getting it done quite convincingly over Newt Silver. Extra Thick, unfortunately, dropping out there. They will finish 7th. Steph and Coco Slayer both losing as well. They're on 18 and 10 points respectively. And with Patat getting it done over Newt Silver, that gives Pastel the lead once again. And Patat potentially might be coming back again. Don't want to cast a curse it, but we've seen this from Patat many, many times.
Well, I won't say it specifically, but yeah. Really quickly, whilst we're on Retro, another... well, actually, we have both Ziggs and Shen on 3 stars, so potentially a really strong comp at the moment. Against Steph at the moment, another player with a couple of 3 stars, but I fear the crew might be slightly stronger. Or watch me get told.
I mean, 4 3 stars on the crew, that is, for Retro, so very, very strong.
I'm not sure if you just saw, but that Katarina just jumped in that back line, like,
wow,
absolutely deep, like jumped on that Ziggs. Sorry, I was thinking of Zahen, the new League of Legends champion, for no reason. But yeah, just absolutely dubious from that Katarina there. So very unfortunate, but yeah, Patat here with the 8 Soul Fighter. And that 5 win streak, so potentially very close to another Prismatic Soul Fighter. Prismatic Soul Fighter, again, it's somewhat easy to obtain, but it's still very strong nonetheless.
Definitely very, very strong, and Patat, again, with the greatest momentum, the only one with a win streak of 5 or greater, now coming up against Pastel, who's just come up off a loss, and thus has relinquished the lead of the game from Newt Silver. And with Retro unfortunately losing out, that brings Steph ever closer. So that is now the race for elimination between Patat, Retro and Steph, and that's Pastel getting it done against Patat. brings Patat down to just 11 points, Retro down to 10. Steph manages to get the win in his game, so he stays on 18 points. Newt Silver stays on 79. So as we head into the carousel, it's Pasta Lover and Newt Silver, second and first, streaking away from everyone else as the race for elimination, or the race to escape it, as it were, between Steph, Patat, and Retro. Just 8 points in it, as they are all within maybe 1-2 games of elimination.
Yeah. It's every man for themselves at the moment for Steph, Patat, and Retro. But, you know, Pasta Lover and Nude Silver sat above them, just like biding their time, you know, waiting to eventually be placed against each other. But yeah, Pasta Lover here with Soul Fighter. Unfortunately for Patat, also going Soul Fighter, but it appears Pasta Lover just got those like 4-star units, 4-cost units, and that Radiant Item Samira as well. Just absolutely insane amounts of damage while having a good amount of frontline as well. So, and with that 8 Soul Fighter, potentially another Prismatic Soul Fighter for Pasta Lover. So lots and lots of points for Pasta Lover today.
So I've got Pasta Lover versus Retro here. Retro fighting to stay alive here. He's in 5th place on just 10 points, but Pasta Lover looking oh so strong with the damage output. But Retro, his backline looking very, very strong. Still got so many units to spare. Comes in clutch with a victory there over Pasta Lover. Newt Silver with a win. That's going to bridge the gap, or extend it as it were, between Pasta Lover and Newt Silver, as Newt Silver gets the win. Steph and Retro winning as well. Patat is out.
Yeah.
In just 5th place. So not what we usually see from Patat. Of course, she has got a win under her belt all the way back in week 1. And Steph now will match his career best in this series. He will finish at the very least 4th, but looks very, very strong at the minute to potentially get better than that. But Pasta Lover, Newt Silver, just so many points ahead. You have to wonder that no matter how strong Steph and Retro are, they might just not have the points in hand to bridge that gap.
Yeah, unfortunately here we're about to see Steph go against Retro again. If that Katarina can get into the backline, which oh, she's just walking the wrong way. Oh, she's going in that backline. She's like, okay, she took out that backline, which, as we saw last game, was absolutely essential for winning. But unfortunately for Retro, Steph's dubious Katarina is gonna be the last of him.
And Retro is out. So a first podium for Steph in the Hive Esports TFT series. A personal best for Steph there. So a massive result for him, with Newt Silver as well losing out, Pasta Lover getting the win. So that win streak for Newt Silver snapped there. So the race for the win is still very much tossing up less than 10 points in it between Newt Silver and Pasta Lover. It's now just a question of whether Steph can hold on to continue to bridge that gap. He's got 41 points even to make up for even getting to 2nd place, Pasta Lover.
Yeah.
So if he's built a good comp, that's crucial, because he needs every point possible in hand.
Newt Silver here with a Samira on the bench, but a Samira in the shop. Pasta Lover yet again being robbed, like right in front of his eyes. Like last game we saw Retro holding those Samiras, so he wasn't able to get that 3-star Samira, but still swept. But unfortunately, I'm not sure if Steph will be able to make a comeback. Like, he is very much reliant on that Katarina hitting the back line.
And in fairness, both times we've seen that Katarina has torn the backline to absolute pieces. And it's now Newt Silver versus Steph. It'll be Pasta Lover taking a break on the sidelines here. A win for Steph would be massive, but Newt Silver exceptionally strong. Wait to see if Katarina can jump into the backline like she's done many, many times before. It's not a sweep by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to be a 3v1, but Newt Silver does get it done. Steph, though, does hang on. Just 5 points left. Pasta Lover, though, with a loss, down to 43. Newt Silver with a massive win, stays on 68. And despite losing, Steph manages to hold on, but he is now 1 loss away from elimination.
That was really unfortunate for Steph. That Katarina was a little bit late on that back line, but once she got there, she was putting in work. But unfortunately, that Smaller was just able to hit both Katarina and Yumi at the same time, just rendering them both unable to finish the mission they set out on.
And we've now got first versus second, Pasta Lover versus Newt Silver. This will be a big indicator of who might be the strongest. A win would be massive for Pasta Lover here to potentially claw back the deficit against Newt Silver, but Newt Silver looks massively, massively strong, but it's not quite enough to overcome Pasta Lover, and that will be a big swing of momentum. Steph manages to stay alive as well. 53 points to 43 for Pasta Lover. Steph just holding on with 5. And now we enter phase 6-3. The race at the front still very, very tight. Steph, though, just managing to hang on.
Yeah, a very whimsical game indeed. Like it's like a game of rock paper scissors. Like Steph beats Pasta Lover, Newt Silver beats. Give me a second while I figure this out. Newt Silver beats Steph. Steph beats Pasta Lover, but Pasta Lover beats Newt Silver or something akin to that.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I got there eventually.
I
got there. Yeah, like it's just a matter of who faces who and when.
So we've now got Steph versus Pasta Lover. Did we say Steph beats Pasta in our rock paper scissors?
I don't know. I've already forgotten.
Fair enough. So have I.
We're about to find out.
We are about to find out. Steph fighting to stay alive here on just 5 points, and it was very, very close. And it is Steph just about getting it done over Pasta Lover, staying alive. And Newt Silver loses as well. So that is massive for Steph. There's just that little, slightly greater chance now for Steph as we enter the carousel. First place, Newt Silver.
Big game
second
of rock,
place.
paper, scissors.
It is a big game of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
It's actually coming true as well. Newt Silver's not losing her game. I don't know if it was PvE or what, but...
Oh, I believe Newt Silver... Oh, we saw it for a split second. I believe she was against Pasta Lover, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, right at the end there, Steph, like that Katarina casts twice thanks to Battle Academia. Her first cast killed the unit that she was on, and then the second cast went onto the other backline unit, just absolutely clutching that last second there. But Retro with that Gwen, hopefully, or will maybe be able to take out the backline. But if it gets jumped on by the Katarina, unfortunately, there's not much she can do.
I have to wait and see whether Steph's Katarina can continue to do the business. Of course, it didn't quite come true against Newt Silver, who he now faces, as Pasta Lover has his own game on the sidelines away from our main viewing here. Newt Silver leading the way. Steph fighting to stay alive. It still looks very, very close. It's still looking very, very close. It's a 1v1. Ooh. And it's going to be Steph just about getting that final pick over Newt Silver by the skin of his teeth. Steph in the chat, hyped right now.
Yeah.
That is the biggest win he has got so far in this game. The win streak stays alive. Newt Silver now on a 3-loss streak. Pasta Lover now takes the lead. And wow, Steph is still fighting on just 5 points.
That Gunblade healing, just absolutely clutching that Yuumi. Obviously, as we were saying, the Katarina sometimes jumps on that backline, sometimes doesn't. But again, that Gunblade healing just came in clutch. But yeah, like, hopefully Katarina continues to keep slaying. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And Steph, like, the longer Steph remains in the competition, the closer that Battle Academia gets to becoming prismatic. And as we saw last week, I believe, or no, a few weeks ago, that prismatic Battle Academia is absolutely insane.
And we're now going to see just who can take it. Pasta Lover versus Steph is our viewing. Steph with another victory. Newt Silver with a 4th loss in a row. And that is going to bring Steph just that little bit closer to second place. Pasta Lover potentially looking at a 2nd straight win in the series. Steph, though, still hanging on. He's about 10 rounds now.
Whatever you do not look at the top.
I've just seen it.
Do not.
What phase are we in? I'm not sure.
No, I'm not. I have no comment on that, okay?
No.
Like, guys, look away, okay? Look away. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't even know what Thresh does in this. I've never really made it this far. You know, I've either died or won already, but Oh, 7-1. That's the stage.
Ah, yeah,
7-1.
yeah, yeah.
7-1. Okay, there we go.
Okay. We've
There
not seen
we
7-1
go.
many times. Very long-winded competitive game. We didn't get this far quite last time.
Yeah,
did we?
again, this like extended game of rock, paper, scissors. Like,
Yeah.
but
But now it's like
Steph seems
paper
like
just beat scissors.
I was gonna say Steph is giving like maybe like a metallic piece of paper. I
Yeah,
don't know. Like he
'cause
breaks
paper
that
just-
scissors and
yeah.
covers that rock. Like
Maybe he's a paper. Big up a paper.
Maybe
a piece of
he-
paper made of rock.
scissors
So he's
made
just-
of paper.
Scissors made of paper. So when they try and cut it, it's just
Yeah. You can't cut scissors with scissors. Duh.
this rock paper scissors game becomes very convoluted very quickly. Steph now versus Pasta Lover. We'll see if Steph can keep his streak alive here. It's 4 wins in a row. Pasta Lover trying to get his second series win. It's going to be another win for Steph, as now he is within 2 points of Pasta Lover, within 7 points of Newt Silver. This is coming down to the absolute wire.
Ooh.
Newt Silver is
Oh
out.
my God.
Newt Silver is eliminated in 3rd place, and now this will be the final game
This game
of
oh my
week
God.
4, because Pasta Lover is on 7 points. Steph is on 5. Steph's on 5 wins in a row. Newt Silver will only finish 3rd. This could not be any closer.
This game is like talk about whimsy.
I'm
like,
hyped.
This game is exhilarating. Like, yeah, we've had some like faces off at the end, but this, oh my God. This
I'm
is just like
gassed.
this. Oh, it's like, oh, this person's gonna win. Oh wait, no, this person's gonna win. And then Steph, like the dark horse, the underdog, just absolutely like steamrolling right at the end.
Tears through everyone.
That Katarina jumping instantly on the back line.
Massive for Steph. This is the game that decides it all. Does Pasta Lover sweep the week? Does Steph get his first ever win in the Hive Esports TFT series? He's tearing through Pasta Lover's backline, but it's a 3v1.
Oh,
Pasta Lover's
no.
gonna get it. The fairy tale does not come true. Pasta Lover sweeps the week here. Steph, so close. Almost got it done.
Oh
It'll
my
be
God.
a weak sweep for Pasta Lover. Steph with a career best second, so nearly got it done.
So close. Like
So
that Katarina
close.
jumped on that back line and then she just jumped in such an awkward position. But oh my God, that game is so exhilarating. I've grabbed onto the B. Like, oh my God.
I was quite literally
Crazy.
at the edge of my seat there.
Yeah.
I
we
don't
were
even know anything about TFC, but 7 points, 5 points, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so close.
Yeah.
But absolutely, GG's
I
to the pair
can't
of them.
believe Steph managed to hold on for that long because
Yeah.
both of them, like both Pasta Slayer and Newt Silver were like very high on HP and Steph was down there on 7 HP for like 7 rounds. Like, wow.
I don't know how he held on, but he must be proud of that. And that will be a massive points haul as well. 7
Yeah.
points just for finishing second, never mind any bonuses he might have got. So that will definitely be the story of the week. Obviously, Pasta Lover sweeping a massive result for him. But Steph from almost last
Yeah.
on 5 points and managed to hold on that long and was that close to winning was
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. But aside from all that, anything else that stood out to you in week 4, George? And probably, I would say, the most entertaining week we've had so far.
Yeah, definitely. Like this has been such a fun couple of games to cast, especially after last week's unfortunate 7.5. But yeah, like very exciting. Like Pasta Lover, like breaking through the ranks, like almost out of nowhere, just getting those 2 wins. But yeah, like Jai leaving absolutely just like jumbled up the competition. So
Yeah, Newt Silver unable to capitalize on Jai's absence. Pasta Lover sweeps the week, gets 2 wins of his own. Steph with a massive points haul as well.
yeah.
This is going to make the series standings very tight, which we will see, and you will see at the beginning of week 5. A little bit earlier, though, if you keep up with our social channels. We'll be posting the leaderboard in the next couple of days as we go behind the scenes and do some little B math, of course,
Yeah.
which is going to be a little bit harder with the bonuses that we've introduced, but it will be worth it because I think we've got a very entertaining 6 extra weeks of competition coming up, and they'll be right here on twitch.tv/Hive Esports Games. But that will be all from everyone at Hive for week 4 of the Hive Esports Teamfight Tactics series. For myself, George, and our nameless, genderless B so far, as well as everyone behind the scenes in production. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night and goodbye.